Something you may or may not know about me is that I used to be a little bit of a baller, a shot caller, and I used to play basketball all the time. I mean, I'm talking 2-3 times a week, 3-4 hours at a time. I played way too much, actually. I played all the time. And every chance that I got, I played in leagues, I played open gym. Really up until the time I moved back to Chattanooga about 10 years ago, I was just playing constantly. And one of the things, I was never that great, but one of the things I really tried to develop and get better and better at was my defense. I wanted to be a very good defensive player. And so I would pride myself on that. And my goal, every time we played basketball, I'd scope out the other team, who we're playing against. I wanted to guard their best player, always. And my goal was to shut him down and to make him hate life and frustrated and cuss. And it worked a lot. And so I remember one night in particular, there was a guy, we were friends, and so we were good with each other, but he was really getting frustrated with me because I wouldn't even let him touch the ball. I was on all over him. And so finally he got mad at me during the game. He's like, "Chris, quit fouling me." I was like, "Dude, I didn't touch you, man. What are you talking about? I didn't foul you." And he kept accusing me of playing too rough and fouling him the whole night. And I didn't feel like I was, but he wasn't getting the ball and he wasn't able to take open shots. And so he didn't do what he normally does. And so of course it's going to be someone else's fault. It's not that he's having an off night. It's not that he can't deal with the defense. It's because somebody is fouling him. Somebody is doing this great injustice. And so I saw him as much as I pride myself on being defensive, he was being really defensive, if you know what I'm saying. And so I realized that we all do that. We all get very, very defensive. And so it's always somebody else's fault. Anytime something happens, anytime something goes wrong, it couldn't possibly be me. It has to definitely be them. Somebody else made me do it. The devil made me do it. Whoever is the other person, whoever the scapegoat is, somebody else, it's their fault. And so I realized that. Now, where does that come from? Well, the truth is we are sort of enslaved to this need to prove ourselves, establish ourselves, defend ourselves. And so there's this overwhelming thought and feeling that we have to make sure the rest of the world sees us through the lens that we want to be seen through. And so we're always working hard overtime to establish ourselves and prove ourselves to any judge that is watching at the time, any critic that's watching our lives at the time. That is not freedom. In fact, freedom comes when we realize that we've already been established. Everything that is to be proved has been proven in the person of Christ. And there's a freedom that comes in not being consumed by that, not being arrested or enslaved by the need to try to prove ourselves. We've already been judged in Christ. That part of life is over. And now we are just living life in the space of freedom. Whom the Son sets free is free indeed. Where the Spirit is, there's liberty, there's freedom. And so part of living and walking by faith, trusting the Lord with our heart instead of leaning on our own understanding, is getting out of our heads in terms of what the world thinks, what people think, and trying to prove ourselves, being people pleasers. We are free just to be ourselves, just to be unapologetically me. And if some people love me, that is great. And if some people hate my guts, that is on them. And I'm so sorry, but it's okay because I'm free. And so there is something that I've not arrived. I'm still in the process, on the journey. But I wanted to bring this up with our head versus heart conversation, this idea of being free just to be ourselves and not to live consumed by or shackled to this desperate need to prove ourselves to anybody or defend ourselves. And really, when you get defensive in those moments, it's a wake-up call to say, man, this means way too much to me. And proving myself, establishing myself, it's become an idol. And so where we get freedom from that is resting in the finished work of Christ and in knowing that we are accepted no matter what in Him. We're accepted in the Beloved, and so everybody else, they're going to make up their mind about us, but we're free to be ourselves and just live life in that place of freedom. So I love you guys very, very much, and I hope you have a great time talking in your groups, and I cannot wait to see you soon. And if you want to play basketball, hit me up.